The story we've all been told for decades is simple. Personal computing equals Windows. For millions of people, the very idea of using a computer has always been tied to a familiar desktop, a taskbar at the bottom, and a start menu that feels like the gateway to everything. But something subtle has been happening in the background, almost invisibly, and it's reshaping what default computing actually means. The shift isn't loud, it isn't dramatic, and it isn't centered around a single product launch. Instead, it's a gradual change in how people interact with technology. And if you look closely, you realize the thing replacing Windows isn't a single operating system at all. It's a new model of computing, one that lives across devices, browsers, and services, quietly dissolving the old boundaries that once made the desktop king. For years, every major tech battle looked like a fight between operating systems. Windows versus macOS, Linux versus Windows, Android versus iOS. The assumption was always that whoever controlled the OS controlled the experience. But that assumption is fading because the operating system is no longer the center of gravity. The center has shifted upward into the cloud, into web platforms, into ecosystems that don't really care what's installed on your machine. When most people open their laptop today, they don't launch heavy native software first. They open a browser. Email, documents, meetings, design tools, project management, messaging, entertainment, even coding environments all live in tabs now. The browser has quietly become the real operating system for a huge portion of the world. This change didn't happen overnight. It crept in through convenience. First it was webmail replacing desktop mail clients, then streaming replacing local media libraries, then collaborative documents replacing files stored on a single PC. Each step seemed small, but together they rewired habits. The more work and life moved online, the less it mattered what OS sat underneath. A Windows laptop, a budget Chromebook, a Linux desktop, even a tablet with a keyboard, if it runs a modern browser, it runs your digital life. That's a profound shift because it means the old monopoly of the desktop OS is dissolving not because something beat it head-on, but because the battlefield moved somewhere else entirely. At the same time, devices themselves have diversified. The average person no longer has one main computer. They have a phone that's always with them. Maybe a tablet, maybe a work laptop, maybe a home PC. Their workflow hops between screens constantly. In this multi-device world, continuity matters more than any single machine. People want their files, conversations, and apps to follow them, not stay locked to one system. Cloud identity replaced local user accounts as the true key to computing. You log into your account, not your computer. Your environment loads from the internet, not from a hard drive. When that happens, the OS becomes just a thin layer, almost interchangeable. This is why the real replacement for Windows isn't another desktop OS trying to win market share. It's the gradual rise of platform-agnostic computing. It's the idea that your computer is actually your account plus the services you use, with hardware acting as a portal rather than a container. In this model, switching from Windows to something else doesn't feel like switching at all because your workflow barely changes. Your bookmarks sync, your apps are web-based, your files live in the cloud, and your communication tools run everywhere. The friction that once locked people into a specific OS has been reduced to almost nothing. There's also a psychological shift happening. For decades, software installation defined ownership. Buying a program, installing it, keeping it updated, that was part of being a computer user. But subscription services and web apps have normalized the idea that software is something you access, not something you possess. You don't think about compatibility the same way anymore because compatibility is handled server-side. Updates happen automatically. Features roll out without you downloading anything. The entire maintenance burden that once tied users to a specific platform is fading into the background. Interestingly, this transformation changes what power means in the tech world. In the past, controlling the OS meant controlling distribution, defaults, and developer attention. Now power comes from controlling ecosystems, identity systems, and cloud infrastructure. Companies compete over who owns your workflow rather than who owns your kernel. It's a quieter competition, but arguably more influential. Because once your digital life is embedded in a platform, switching becomes less about learning a new interface and more about moving your entire online existence. Another layer to this shift is performance. Modern web technologies have reached a point where the line between native and web apps is blurry. Browser-based tools can handle video editing, complex design, large datasets, and even development environments. with faster internet and more powerful devices. The performance gap that once justified heavy desktop software has narrowed significantly for most users. For everyday tasks, the difference is practically invisible, and that makes the underlying OS even less relevant. Security also plays a role. Centralized platforms can patch vulnerabilities faster than traditional desktop software, and sandboxed environments reduce risk for non-technical users. While no system is perfect, the perception of safety and simplicity pushes people toward cloud-first workflows. The less users have to manage locally, the more appealing the experience becomes, especially for organizations that want consistency across thousands of devices. What's fascinating is that this evolution doesn't feel like a replacement in the traditional sense. There's no dramatic moment where people uninstall Windows. Instead, Windows gradually becomes just another access point to the real environment living online. You can see this in how new generations approach computing. Many younger users think of their phone as their primary device and a laptop as just a bigger screen for the same services. Their mental model isn't tied to an OS brand. It's tied to apps, accounts, and platforms. To them, switching devices is normal, and the idea of being locked into a single operating system feels outdated. Work culture accelerated this trend dramatically. Remote work normalized browser-based collaboration tools, virtual desktops, and cloud storage. Entire companies now onboard employees by sending a login link rather than installing a stack of software. In such environments, the physical machine is almost irrelevant. A cheap laptop can deliver the same experience as an expensive workstation because the heavy lifting happens elsewhere. That changes purchasing decisions, IT strategies, and ultimately the importance of the OS itself. Even software development reflects this shift. Developers increasingly build cross-platform applications or web apps first, knowing that reach matters more than deep OS integration. The more software lives above the operating system, the less any single OS can dictate the direction of innovation. This creates a feedback loop. As more apps become platform-agnostic, users become less dependent on any specific system, which encourage even more cross-platform development. There's also an economic angle. Hardware life cycles are extending because performance gains are no longer as noticeable for everyday tasks. If your workflow lives in the cloud, an older device remains perfectly usable. This reduces the pressure to upgrade for compatibility reasons, further weakening the traditional role of the desktop OS as the driver of hardware refresh cycles. The computer becomes more like a terminal than a self-contained powerhouse. All of this leads to a surprising conclusion. The future isn't about one operating system replacing another. It's about operating systems fading into the background entirely. They still exist, of course, and they still matter for specialized workloads, gaming, and professional software. But for the majority of daily tasks, they're becoming invisible infrastructure. The real default is the environment you log into, not the platform you boot. That doesn't mean Windows disappears. It means its role changes. Instead of being the center of computing, it becomes one of many gateways into a broader digital ecosystem. In a sense, the replacement isn't a product you can install. It's a paradigm shift toward computing as a service, where the OS is just a thin client connecting you to everything that actually matters. And perhaps the most interesting part is how quietly this transformation has unfolded. There was no single announcement declaring the end of the desktop era, no dramatic turning point. It happened through convenience, through habits, through the steady migration of workflows to places that don't care what system you're running. If you step back and look at how you use your devices today compared to 10 years ago, the difference is striking. You spend more time in browsers, more time in synced apps, more time in environments that feel consistent everywhere. The OS is still there, but it's no longer the star of the show. So when we ask what replaces Windows, the answer isn't Linux or macOS or any single competitor. It's the disappearance of the operating system as the defining layer of personal computing. It's the rise of a world where your digital life floats above hardware, accessible from anywhere, shaped more by services than by software installed locally. And once you see that shift, it's hard to unsee it, because you realize it's already happened for millions of people without them ever noticing. The real replacement, then, is not a new icon on your desktop. It's the idea that the desktop itself is no longer the center of your computing universe. It's the cloud, the browser, and the ecosystem that travels with you, turning every device into just another window into the same continuous experience. And in that world, the question isn't which operating system wins. The question is whether operating systems, as we once understood them, still need to compete at all.